Welcome to the American Citizens Abroad podcast. Today we are chatting with Duoma Atelier founders Gaston and Norma. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for having us.
Yes, we're excited to be here. Thank you.
We're happy to have you. Let's start at the beginning. Could you tell us about your journey as an expat? How did you end up in Italy?
We first fell in love with Italy about 14 years ago when we first came to visit. Back then it was just Norma and I, no kids. So it was a lot easier to explore and to see different places. But then it was, let's say, love at first sight. We loved the cities that we visited. We've been to Rome, Florence, Positano, many different places, and we love the cities. We love the culture, the food. Everything was like very dreamy, and although we were in vacation, it was still like very, very nice. What we saw, we were really happy. We had a really good time. Back then, we thought this is a place that we could one day retire. We could live here. It has everything that we like. But then, with time, we started exploring. Came to Italy a few more times, right?
Yeah.
And then we realized that we could, the permit to live here, actually apply for my citizenship through my grandfather. That made things a lot easier for us. Having a path to become citizens here was definitely something that helped choose Italy as our place to move to.
Yeah. The journey has been a little bit challenging, but mostly enjoyable because Gaston and I are by nature, we're both planners. We wanted to make sure we planned this change so it didn't affect our kids and obviously ourselves as little as possible. So at the beginning, we had some challenges with the language and with Italian's bureaucracy, which everybody knows it is very bad. But as we learned the language and as we understood how to navigate things started to get easier. And because we had planned things the right way, we feel like the actual journey wasn't as bad as other people have experienced.
What was the turning point when you seriously considered leaving the U.S.?
It wasn't an exact point that we said, okay, we have to pack and go. It was just a combination of different things. The work-life balance, the consumerism in the US, the school system, taking all that into consideration and seeing that there was another option outside the US, that the work-life balance was much more enjoyable. People live differently. The school system allows kids to learn in a different way and explore different things. Culture-wise, knowledge-wise, we knew that there was more out there. We just need to have the courage to explore. We got to a point that the kids were at a certain age that was still a good option to move abroad. Our kids, they were
9 and 7.
9 and 7 when we came, so we thought it was going to be easier for them to adjust and all that. So we decided, okay, before it's too late, let's just do it now. And that was the point we decided to make the move.
Did you have any fears that almost stopped you from making the move? And if so, how did you overcome them?
One of our biggest fears was the unknown of not knowing exactly what we're going to do when we settled in Italy. Even though we really planned, like I told you before, we had planned to give ourselves at least a year to learn the language and to understand the job market. And during that year, even though we gave ourselves that year, it was a little bit hard to disconnect from the idea that we had to be working and be productive all the time. So we were very confident that no matter what, we would be able to provide for our family and find whatever we needed to do. But not knowing exactly how was a little nerve-wracking.
As human beings, we always fear the unknown. So even though we've been to Italy several times, we kind of had expectations, but gathering everything, your family and all your belongings and going to a different place, there is a portion that you don't know exactly what you're going to do, how is life going to be, are the kids going to adjust and all those things. You realize with time that you just cope with it and things become easier and easier on a daily basis and your fear goes away.
Yeah.
What were the biggest logistical hurdles, like visas, finances, housing, and how did you navigate them?
Definitely moving with your family and dog and your belongings across the ocean is not something simple. We did a lot of planning to make sure that things move smoothly as we could manage. We hired a lawyer in Miami to gather all the paperwork that we needed to apply for the citizenship, who also worked with another lawyer in Italy. That took some time, but it was one of the most important things that we did in order to make sure that arriving in Italy, we were able to apply for my citizenship. Other than that, planning financially was very important and it took time. We had property in Miami and cars and different things that we had to figure out what to do with it. So that also takes time. And housing,
Yeah.
in Miami, what to do with our home before we put it in the market to sell or to rent or anything. We kind of had to make sure that we had a home here in Italy as well. After we settle down, we decide what to do with it. Finding housing in Italy was one of the hardest things that
Yeah.
we did and we had to go through.
Yeah.
I think Norma can tell you more about that.
Yeah. For me, that was the biggest stress because the moving day was approaching, but we didn't have a place to live. I mean, you would think finding a place, it wasn't as easy as we thought. We wanted to move to Florence because Gaston's cousins lived there and because we love that city. No matter how many houses we found, we couldn't find the right one that would allow us to claim residency, which is what we needed to apply for the citizenship. It got to a point that we were losing hope, and we actually have a friend in Rimini, the city that we ended up at. We asked him if he had anybody in Florence that could help us, and he said, "But why Florence? Why not Rimini?" And we were like, "Okay, maybe it's time to consider other cities." So we did a quick Google search and found out about the schools for the kids, and since we didn't have that much of a choice, we said, "Why not? Let's try out Rimini. If we don't like it, at least we can get the citizenship, and then we see where else we can go." So we told our friend Angelo to please help us find a place. And within a week, we had a rent contract on a house and we moved to Rimini without ever seeing the house or even visiting in Rimini. Just talk about just going with the flow, which is really not like us because we don't do things like that. We like to plan, but in this case, we didn't have a choice and it ended up being the best thing for us because we love Rimini and we really can't imagine living anywhere else now. Even now, we go back to visit Florence, and as much as we still love the city, we realize that we made the right choice.
Was there anything that you over prepared for or something that you wish you had prepared more for?
Learning Italian would have been helpful. We did take some classes when we were in Miami, and
But it was
when we visited Italy a few times, us speaking Spanish as well, we understood a lot, and we thought, okay, we can get it. We're gonna get it very quickly. It's not a problem. So we started taking some classes before moving here, and once we arrived, and we had to do all this paperwork and going to the comune and doing all those things, you realize you don't speak very well.
It wasn't as easy as we thought.
So that learning more Italian would have been a lot more helpful.
Yeah. If I can think of one thing is that we just brought too much stuff. Even though we did purge through a lot, we gave away a lot of things, we sold a lot of things. It's hard to really understand how much you're gonna need once you move. So having kids and with the dog and everything, I feel we brought too much stuff because we brought a lot of luggages, but also we shipped some stuff and the stuff we shipped we received like 6 months after, just different things. When we received the boxes, we realized that most of the things we didn't need it. We already had either purchased them or we didn't need them at all. So if that's one thing that you kind of over prepare for is usually that. And I would just suggest that you bring the essential, the bare minimum. If you can just bring the things that you're emotionally attached to, like photos or like things that you really can replace, because here you can buy clothes, better furniture. It really doesn't matter. And You're probably going to need to buy more clothes anyway because the weather is different. You're going to have to shop for clothes for winter, for different seasons. I just don't think it's worth going through so much trouble trying to bring so many things. Most people usually regret that. And even though we try to purge, we still brought too much.
Could you tell us about your business, Duoma Atelier? How different is it to run a business abroad compared to the US? And did being expats give you an advantage or make things harder?
We have to reopen the business here. Basically, it's the same name of the business that we opened in Miami in 2020, but we have to establish a company here in Italy. And that process it's a lot more complicated than opening a company, let's say in the state of Florida, where we were. In Florida, you can go online, you open a company, you file your forms with the IRS, and you can do that all yourself. Here, you have to go through a commercialista, which is an accountant, then go to the notary, which works as an attorney, and everything gets registered. You have to apply different forms. It is costly. I think you're talking about somewhere between 1,200 to 2,500 euros to open a business when it costs you a lot less in the US. I would say the business mindset in the US, it helps entrepreneurs. Here in Italy, it's a lot less. It's doable, but it takes a lot more. Plus, the way they do the taxes here is a lot different, a lot more control, I would say. You definitely need to have a good accountant that will help you through the process and how to file taxes, how to keep records, and all those things. It takes a lot more work, effort.
On the other hand, we have to thank the American entrepreneur mentality that we have because it has allowed us to apply our work ethics as well as not being afraid to continue providing our services to international clients who want to buy and renovate a house in Italy. I feel like people that hear that we're coming from the United States, Italians kind of value that because they see us as serious people. They see us as people that they can do business with, collaborate with. So that has been helpful here for us.
I think one of the advantages of being an expat here in Italy, people are interested in knowing your story and give you attention and in a way that they want to help you. They get excited about you coming here to open a business and invest in their country. That I think is an advantage. And it helps because here it's all about relationships. Who you know and who to go to and who can help you in different ways, different processes, whether it's with the comune or do anything with your tax-wise and all this stuff. So definitely, I think we have an advantage being expats.
Yeah.
How has the local culture influenced your design style?
Being a general contractor in Miami is a whole different thing than being a general contractor in Italy. General contractors here, they don't pretty much exist. They know the term. They do exist for larger projects, but not for small residential projects. Now, things are very different the way they build things, and the architecture and the materials that they use are a lot different. So you have to kind of work with the existing architectural items or influence and learn about it. They respect the architecture, the existing architecture very much. You kind of have to learn and use the way they design, the way they build, all that style in what you implementing nowadays.
I'm very into design. I studied architecture and interior design in the United States, and I practiced for many years. So for me, being in Italy, it's obviously all about the architecture and the beauty of every part of Italy, but it's also the lifestyle and passion that Italians have for their culture. We have better access to good craftsmanship and design. So here in Italy, people are serious about design. Just last week, we went to Salone del Mobile, which is a giant fair of high-end furniture held here in Milano. Designers from all over the world attend, and we are just trained right away. For me, it doesn't get better than that. I have to pinch myself sometimes because we have the opportunity to go to these type of events, but also we like to go to antique shows where you not only want to buy everything, but it also takes us back through the history of design and how people use things. We are in a much better place to be able to offer our clients the best of the design world.
Are there differences in how people abroad think about their homes compared to Americans?
Definitely. The mentality here is they live in their houses forever. They don't move around so much
Mhm.
and they don't renovate it as often. The mentality is if it's not broken, don't fix it. Don't change anything, just leave it the way it is. You walk into these houses, and when we're searching for homes to buy, you walk into these houses that have been built years and years ago and nothing has changed. It's like it hasn't been touched in forever. They definitely don't move as often and they don't renovate like bathrooms and kitchens, they don't renovate as often as we do in the US.
In my point of view, in the US, the houses have evolved a lot to have a better distribution and proportion of spaces. Here, the layouts have stayed pretty much the same since the house was built. So usually you come in into a huge foyer. Each space is a room with a door. So making entertainment a little difficult. Obviously, people used to entertain different back in the days, but things have changed today. The kitchen is either too big or too small. The bathrooms are huge. The bedrooms are small. There's no closet space. You will find better layouts in new construction. I think when it comes down to layouts, the US does a much better job of making living spaces better for entertainment.
What design elements do you think Americans could learn from other cultures?
I would say definitely the bidet. It's something very useful. Although you see the bidet being used more and more in the US, but it's not as every house has a bidet. You know, here every bathroom has a bidet as well. So I think it's useful.
I mean, we have been here for 2 years already, so we can attest to how good it is. We had clients in the US asking more for the days or the faucet feature next to the toilet. So I think that people are understanding, the people that have been traveling more abroad understand what a good feature it is.
What
Yeah.
does a better life actually mean to you now versus before you moved?
I think for us, a better life is slowing down, leaving behind the hectic life we had in Miami. Nowadays, Miami has a traffic that is, I would say, almost 24/7.
Yeah.
Everywhere you have to go, you have to get in the car, drive 10, 15 minutes to go to the supermarket or whatever errands you have to run. You have to be always driving somewhere. Here, it's you get on the bike, you go to the centro storico, or you go to the supermarket, and it's much, much slower. Between 1 and 3, the businesses close for lunch. So you have that feeling of people are resting. You have these breaks in between. The weekends or weekends, offices don't open. You have some stores that open on the weekend, like supermarkets, but they close a half day and things like that. You really feel like people enjoy life a lot more, and the slow pace of life, it's really an impact.
Yeah, also access to free healthcare, fresh food. We have been able to buy fresh produce and cook more at home. We also don't have to worry about what we're consuming, what we're buying from the supermarket, if it's organic, if it's not organic. Italy has more strict laws when it comes to their foods. It's almost like we don't have to even think about it. Eating healthy just becomes something of a daily norm for us. Also, living in a city that's smaller, that there's less cars, there's more nature, more green, means better air quality. So we also feel like, okay, we're eating better, drinking better water, breathing better air. Is I don't know if it's a mental thing, but it really does make an impact on your health.
So, do you feel like you've gained more freedom as far as time and finances and other things go? Or are there any trade offs that people don't talk about enough?
We gained more freedom in the sense of time, definitely. We have more time to enjoy with our kids. We're here at home, and we have more time to go out, to go to a museum, go concerts, and different things that we can do because it's a normal thing for everybody. It's not something that you have to get out of your way to enjoy. You have the freedom to spend more quality time with your friends and family, and that's something that's invaluable.
I think we have been conditioned for so long to always be productive that having this freedom has been a game changer for us.
How has the move impacted your relationship as a couple?
I think it impacted very positively on our relationship. We became more in tune. Dating is something more natural. We can go out, have an aperitivo, and do something. It doesn't have to be so planned for taking a walk in the park. It's a time that we have
Mm-hmm.
together as a couple, and we didn't have that before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was a change in lifestyle,
Right.
improve our relationship as a couple.
What's interesting is that living abroad changes you as an individual, but it also changes you as a couple. Because we're more relaxed, we can also be more present for each other.
Are there any things you appreciate more now about American culture or anything less?
I think the American culture has a lot of good things as well. We certainly appreciate the hustle mentality. We work a lot and we learn how to be entrepreneurs thanks to the American mentality that allows you to do all those things
Mhm.
in an easy way. It's something positive that we got from living in the US for so long.
Yeah, there are good things about the Italian culture being laid back, but now when it comes to business, the commitment here is a little bit vague. For example, like if there's a deadline and they tell you it will take 5 days, that's probably not true. It will take much more. It's more like an estimate. It's not like a real commitment. So in the American culture, when you say a date, you try to deliver it on time. And that's something that we are glad that we understand because this is exactly what we are going to provide to our clients is to be able to be that mediator, to understand the local culture, how things work here, to be able to be that bridge between international clients and being able to manage their project from abroad.
Is there anything about expat life that sounds glamorous but really isn't?
This hasn't been our case, but a lot of people they come here on vacation and they picture themselves on beautiful views, zipping on the streets and living the life and all that. But when it comes to embracing the culture and starting new relationships with foreigners, it's a shock for a lot of people. I mean, the American culture and the Italian culture are very different. A lot of people struggle with changing their mentality. I mean, Rimini is a small town in our eyes. It's 160,000 people. You go to the butcher shop and the butcher already knows you the second time that you go there. All these interactions, if you want your privacy, it's hard to have that. So you kind of have to embrace it.
And
You
meet
start
people.
relationships and learn the language and know all those things. A lot of people struggle with it.
We are originally from Argentina, so our culture is very similar to Italy's. This is probably why we haven't had such a hard time adapting and meeting people. But I think it also depends on how open minded you are to adapt to the culture versus the Italians adapting to you. And also, it depends a lot on where in Italy you go or where in the world you go as an expat. Because I hear that people here in Rimini are very friendly, but that's not really the case everywhere. So some people do struggle to make friends, mostly as adults. The kids don't, they make friends very easily.
Have there been any moments where you questioned your decision to move?
No.
I do go through some moments where it's not like a regret or questioning the decision, but it's almost like a reality check. I go through this times that I'm still in disbelief that we actually did what we did. And I ask myself, did we really just leave everything behind, everything we built, and start it all over? Sometimes I just have to pinch myself.
What's one practical step someone can take this year if they're seriously considering moving abroad?
Whatever country you want to move to, the best thing to do is to hire a legal advisor to help you understand the possibilities of the options that one has to immigrate legally, how to get a visa, how to maybe work remotely and start a new life over there, and all those things. That the legal part, I think it's the priority, yes, something you have to do before you do anything else. Is what are your options to move abroad?
Mm-hmm. And our second advice would be obviously the financial part. Kind of need to figure out what you will do there, how long can you be without working, explore a little bit of what the market is in that particular country. If you are able to already come with an American job that would allow you to work remotely, that I will say is the best option until you find something else or continue doing that, unless you're retired. But I think that figuring that out is better because the job market here is much different. It's not as easy to find something, and the salaries are much lower.
And a hypothetical question, if you had to move to a different country tomorrow, where would it be?
That's a really tough question. We haven't thought of moving yet. We hope Italy is going to be the last country that we go to. But if we have to go somewhere else, I think Spain would be our next option.
I agree. I think that just having to learn another language has been a little tough for us, but so just speaking the language it's a big thing, and Spain is right next to us. It wouldn't be such a huge move, and the culture is very similar.
And do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
If you are considering moving abroad and you have the opportunity to go visit that country, just go, not just as a tourist, but try to imagine yourself living in that place. Do the normal things that you would do, like going to the supermarket, pump gas in your car, ride a bicycle, or do the things that you would picture yourself doing in that city. Learn the culture, what people do after work. Do they work weekends? How is the lifestyle? And all those things, it will help you make a decision. And two is if you decided to go to that country, it's not going to be such a shock. You have some expectations, something that you can predict how your lifestyle is going to be.
And I would like to just do a little bit of an invitation to your audience to consider the region where we live. We honestly didn't know about this region, and I don't think it's very known by just Americans in general because it's not as popular as Tuscany or other regions. It's called Emilia-Romagna. We are in Rimini, which is a coastal city. This is a beautiful and more affordable region in Italy. It has everything. It has the beautiful green hills, it has the beach, it has a lot of history, and obviously all of Italy is beautiful. But I just wanted to bring the attention to this region because we really fell in love with it, and there's so many opportunities here. If anybody's thinking about moving, you can just have them contact us. If they have any questions, we're more than happy to talk to anybody.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat today.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
The content of ACA podcasts, including documents and presentations, is made available only for general information purposes. It is not intended and should not be treated as legal, financial, or tax advice. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of American Citizens Abroad, Inc. or any affiliated organization. ACA does not warrant the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any content or other information. ACA disclaims all liability and responsibility arising from any reliance placed on any content or information by you or any other person. ACA is nonpartisan and does not support any political party or candidate.